Yo, what is up? What's poppin'? You know it ain't no stopping. It is your boy, the International Sensei, back at it again. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Enter the Dojo podcast, your source for all things fighting related, and of course, the splash of random topics in there as well. Of course, keep it right, keep it tight, and please, please, please talk to me nice. And now, if you never heard that I am truly one of the many new age black nerds, I'm just gonna just chop it up with you guys about some black nerds over the history of time. I mean, what it is like being a black nerd. Shout out to all my nerds out there, black or otherwise, or my international nerds, because I am the International Sensei, of course. My black and Hispanic nerds, my Asian nerds out there, white, Indian, whatever, whatever race you are out there. Much love to you. But it's always been like weird, always being like the nerdy black dude in school or in like whatever. And I was like kind of fortunate that I was always like the nerdy black kid, but I did karate and I fought and I worked out a lot, so I was always very muscular, so I never got fucked with too much, you know what I mean? Like, or really ever. I never really got fucked with like at all. So those kids that got picked on because they were smaller and things like that never really happened to me, just because I did work out a lot. But going through the years and watching different shit, like watching stuff like Family Matters, like obviously reruns because I'm not that old, but reruns and stuff like Family Matters, where like Urkel was like the black nerd of all black nerds, you know what I'm saying? Like he got messed with. He was like that dude that was like always chasing that one girl over and over and over again until he finally got her. I would touch on that, but I'll literally be talking about that whole particular, the Laura Urkel thing, the entire thing, and I'm not gonna do that. But Urkel was definitely one of them. I mean, the whole like, did I do that thing? Like the whole thing that he did with the suspenders and shit, the glasses and all of that. Like it was dope. I think it was just like, it was dope because he was always himself. You feel me? Like I feel like, especially modern society, or just even like society in general, it's always had this like element of fabricated fiction, you know what I'm saying, where it's like you have to pretend to be this big ballin' dude, you have to pretend to be this person with all these jewels, you have to pretend to be this person with all this shit that 9 times out of 10 you're not that person. You never were that person. You just had the means to fake like you're that person. And Urkel obviously is a character in the show, and obviously Jalil White is not that guy. But Urkel was kind of that character who was just like, you can just be authentically you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a quirky guy and you just love cheese, you can love the fuck out of some cheese and be okay. You know what I'm saying? Or like, if you're that guy that loves anime, you could be that guy that loves anime and be alright. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to change yourself. And even with him being authentically him, he still had like his struggles with wanting to change himself. You know what I'm saying? Like being with like the popular girl and trying to be the popular dude, when he like did the whole body swap thing and like changed himself into the cool dude or whatever. But he was always like that black nerd that you kind of looked up to, because it was like, I can still be nerdy, but I can still be smooth. You know what I'm saying? I can still like my shit, but I can still talk to a shorty, and I can talk to women in a way that's very smooth and calm. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like it was just a dope way, because he had so many layers, and that character went so many different ways and had so many different elements to him that it was so dope. The other nerdy black dude that I was always like a big fan of, and a lot of y'all probably don't know this show, but I know like a good amount of my 90s babies that watch this will, or listen to this will. It was called Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. And the character's name was Simon Nelson Cook, or Cookie. And my son, like, he was super geek, yo. My son had the fucking, what's that store? The Micro Center. He had the damn Micro Center like button down shirt with like the little like with the khaki pants on. They hiked all the way up to his like belly button, you know what I'm saying, and like the little stupid thing on his glasses. Like it was crazy, but it was dope because like, again, he was him, you know what I'm saying? Like he was himself always. Like, as annoying or as weird or as awkward as the dude was, he was himself. And you have to respect people that can always be authentically them. Like, it was never anything like about that character. It was never anything that looked fake about that character. Never anything that looked like, I guess, rehashed. Because Urkel was Urkel. You could never duplicate Urkel. But Cookie was Cookie. Like, you really could never duplicate Cookie. Like, he had his quirks and he had his thing. Like, he was like the super scientific. He had this like little like weird thing that he would put on his glasses that he would like flip down, and like they would do these like little crazy effects, and he had this little like mouse thing on his hands or whatever. So it was dope. Trying to think. Number 3 of the black nerds. I mean, obviously that's like Donald Glover as a whole, because he is just like freaking black nerd messiah. Like, he just is nerd personified. Like, he just does everything. But he was one of the, I guess, like a more mainstream example, and just like an example in real life, because he is like that nerdy guy. He is a bit of a quirky guy, and he was always gonna be like, especially back then, because he grew up like around when my sister and brother grew up. He was always like probably that guy that got picked on, probably that guy that couldn't get the girl or whatever. And to see that dude now be like a world-renowned author, director, rapper, comedian, like all like screenplay, writing screenplays, being in Community, like all of the stuff that this dude's done, from being like that nerdy, quirky kid, you know what I mean? And it's really inspiring, because it's inspiring from the standpoint of like, you don't have to be like the nerdy guy that only goes into IT, which is like the stigma for a lot of people. Like, if you're a nerdy guy or a guy that likes computers or whatever, or not even a guy that likes computers, but you just have this like nerd stuff about you, you gotta be an IT guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, only IT people are nerdy. Like, that's what the thing was, especially back then, and even sometimes, even still to this day sometimes. But he was kind of like the guy that just showed how versatile you could be, and you could still enjoy your comics, you can still enjoy your Spider-Man and your cosplay and all this other shit, but you can be whatever, you know what I mean? You could be whatever, and you could be that dude that everyone wants to be around, type of thing. But I think it's dope. I mean, like, I would consider myself a black nerd. I mean, and I think it's nothing wrong with that. I think that being nerdy or whatever is a cool thing. I mean, like, if that's what you are. Like, I don't like the people that are that now that it's like safe to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone had a friend or friends that would like make fun of them for watching anime, make fun of them for cosplaying, all this other stuff. And now that we're grown and we're out of high school and stuff like that, people don't pick on you no more. Now you want to be, oh, this anime stuff is so cool. This thing is so cool. This, that. Oh, I want to. Where do you get your Spider-Man costumes from? And I'm just like, dog, you whack. Like, and I'm fine with people getting into anime later and things like that. But there's certain people that I'm like, dog, you're just whack. Like, you were so focused on image and trying to be the cool person and this and that, and you never expanded your horizons. You never stuck with who you were. You only stuck with what people allowed you to do. And I think that's what is so inspiring, and something that can kind of transfer into life, about being like, about watching those guys, about even like fictional characters like Miles Morales, who was who wasn't really like the smoothest guy. He was more of a nerdy guy, where it's like you can impart all of the things that you have that make you unique. And if that is quote unquote nerdy, if that is kind of quirky or geeky or whatever the hell you want to call it, and mold that into a dope person that's just well-rounded. You know what I mean? Like, you're not always talking about football, and you're not always talking about freaking like celebrity drama and stuff. Like, you have something unique to talk about, and in those like activities, you're talking about artistry, you're talking about expression, you're talking about acting, and all these other things that, I guess, like all these other things that kind of like mix in with real world things, obviously. So I think it's dope. I mean, I think like anyone that's ever like struggled with identity, just stick to who you are, man. I mean, like what you like, man. Don't let anyone try to control what you do, control how you do it, control what you like. Like, if you like anime and you're black, or if you like anime and you're white, if you're Asian and you like fucking watching the Boondocks, even though that's not technically anime, or if you like watching the fucking Parkers back in the day, like, it doesn't matter. Like we have to get out of this habit of allowing individuals to dictate our pleasure and dictate our happiness, because it ends up making you a miserable person, and it ends up making you a person that isn't truly authentic. Because if you listen to everything everyone said, you would just be a shell of yourself. Like, you would be working your whatever job, miserable all the fucking time, because you're not truly loving what you're doing. You're always worried about the next person's opinion, and you just can't live like that, man. Like, you have to love what you love. You know what I'm saying? Like what you like, whatever your interest is. If you like cheese and you are a grilled cheese master and you like making different kinds of grilled cheese, make them motherfucking grilled cheese. If that you a grilled cheese nerd, I salute to you. Make me a grilled cheese, damn it. I like some grilled cheese. But just love what you do, man. Like, and love your activities. Like, don't make someone poo-poo your activities because they don't know how awesome it is. Shoot, show them how awesome it is. Like, sometimes for anime, I'll send people animes like Death Note to get them started. I'll send them animes, like, even though Avatar is technically not an anime, I'll send them Avatar The Last Airbender. I'll send them shit like Samurai Champloo. Like, I'll send them shorter stuff so they can get their foot in the door, and then they're like, oh, this stuff is really dope. So make people accept your stuff. If they don't, screw them. But yeah, man, that being said, this is a bit of a random episode, just chopping it up about some black nerds of time, and just definitely showing some love to all the people that have had to deal with bullying, ridiculing, all that good stuff. Not all that good stuff, all that bad stuff back in the days of being a nerd, especially being like in a lot of like black schools in different areas of the United States, who had to get picked on and stuff like that. Definitely salute to y'all for holding it down for us. Salute to Urkel, salute to Cookie, salute to Miles Morales for just showing a different side of black males that often never gets represented as much as it should get represented in modern society. So I would just definitely say, if you haven't watched any of those shows or movies, definitely watch them. Let your kids watch them. Like, all of my African Americans, let your kids watch Into the Spider-Verse. All my Latinos, let your kids watch Into the Spider-Verse. Like, anybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, just let them watch it, because I feel like there's so few positive examples of black intelligence, but like, and that, I don't know, it just so few examples of black intelligence, like stuff like Love and Hip Hop and stuff like that, are so pronounced. And we need to find a way to balance that out and get like to a point where it's an equal amount of intelligent content and, I guess, kind of like miscellaneous content, which is what I would consider Love and Hip Hop and all those shows to be. But with that being said, man, I'm not going to ramble on too much more. I'm the International Sensei. This is the Entity Dojo Podcast, your source for all things fighting related, as well as some random topics, and of course your occasional dash of positivity. Please follow me on Twitter at Sensei_Global21, International_Sensei on Instagram. Entity Dojo Podcast is on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher, and all that good stuff. Entity Dojo Podcast, the place to be. We must now exit the dojo. Us.